Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. It is welcome to the Keeping It Real Conversation Show with your host Camila, aka Sunshine. It is Thursday, March 2nd. We are in the third month of the year. We are happy to be here this evening. Again, we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. The name of the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are live on Twitch and on Twitter. Please find us on social media somewhere. Please tell somebody about us. Come in, tap in. You're going to get some great information tonight. Again, as I always say, we have some dope people that always come through on this show. I can't talk about nobody else's show, but definitely with mine is somebody you definitely want to sit down and listen to. Again, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. It has been proven over and over again since I started this almost 3 years ago. And it's the testament that it happens frequently. So this evening, I have another wonderful guest, and I'm glad to get in this conversation. I have been waiting for us to have this conversation and how things happen when you meet certain people, and then all of a sudden, um, they're there and is needed. So tonight, I have Kalante on here, aka Cadillac Q. He's an artist from the D, that is Detroit, not Dallas. Given the name Caddy through his love for the vehicle itself and motivation to keep it in Detroit. Caddy is known for his lyrical capabilities and music production skills. Q spent time over in Taiwan, developing new heights in his music career. Upon return, Q and some of his childhood brothers slash friends decided to start a musical group called BAMN ENT, which means by any means necessary, which was motivated in a statement once said by the great Malcolm X. Now, these three talented artists have been acquainted for nearly 20 years. Conscious MC, Killer Chemist, and Cadillac Q, having an amazing team built among each other and are shining bright to this day. I'm gonna skip some because that's something we're gonna get into. Today, Cadillac and BAMENT are focused, goal oriented, and ready to cruise in the sunset on our way to success. Many things are in the works to show artists different aspects and sides of us and how we display our musical work. The main thing for us all would definitely be that the fact we always brainstorm and put our heads together as we move as one unit. The future has a lot of good things in store for us, and it's going to blow your mind as we continue to move forward and step into our own success. So tonight, you guys, I want you to welcome Kalante Nance, aka Cadillac Q, to the show. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
I am good. I am good. I am glad to have this opportunity to have a conversation with you. As we noticed in our reading the bio, he is 1/3 of the group. Eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to get the other two and have them all on together. So, I usually tell how I met the people that I have on the show. So this is another person who was recommended to me by my spiritual mom, Mother Louise Grissom, told me about this young man and said, you know what? I think you need to meet my daughter. And she called me on the phone while I was at work, and God began to talk to me about him. And I guess it blew his mind that God was speaking to me about him, and we had no prior conversation. And I said, "You're in good hands. let's get on the show and let's talk about it. So tonight, that's how we met, through someone else, my spiritual mom, to say this young man is going places, and he has something to say. So tonight, this is what we're getting into, the conversation with Detroit's own Cadillac Q. So again, I'm grateful that you are here, to talk about your group, talk about um, the things that you had got going on, what you're doing now with insurance, and just get into it. So I know in your bio you talked about how music has been a major influence in your life since you were young. Um, Let everybody else know what you mean by that.
Well, personally, let's see, you had the other gentleman on here the other day, and it was something sort of similar to what he said. Just that it was something that I could really connect with. Especially in the times of how things were in Detroit. Maybe you may have been in a neighborhood that was standoffish, or you didn't have as many individuals that you could socialize with or could really express yourself with, and music was really a tool for me to express myself with. Because not only with producing or rapping and doing the music, I'm also a hip hop dancer as well. So I've done that and traveled around the world and done that as well. I've street performed. Music was just really a tool for me that really helped me, you know, gravitate and amplify who I am. My father was a famous musician when I was a kid. He was a part of a group called the Fanatics. So they were a part of a label called Life or Death Records. Back in the late 90s, Eminem's group D12 was number one on the Billboard charts, and my pop's group, the Fanatics, they were number two on the Billboard charts. Another close family friend, Big Herc. He's an uncle of mine. Big Herc was part of Got You Back and Rock Bottom. So so I've just really been around the hip hop culture. My pops used to go and do rap battles at the hip hop shop with Eminem and Royce and guys like that. And I used to see these guys growing up when I was a kid, and it was just, it was very influential for me. And I used to play around with it at first, and I didn't think it would be anything that I would do. And one day, music just kind of took my life by the reins, and I was like, "Man, I love this. I really got to do something with this." And I would see the reactions that I would get from people, whether it would be dancing or whether it would be producing a beat or whether it would be, laying some vocals to a beat or just rapping or just doing a little lunch table cipher type of thing. So it was just a very nice platform for me. I just put music as a whole as a platform for me because I like every aspect of it. Like I said, the dancing, the creating the music itself, or rapping to me is kind of like taking the vocals, your vocals, and using them as an instrument and just dancing with whatever beat is in front of you. So it was just very very fundamental for me. I loved it.
So, coming from a musical family, being a creative myself, I know music was my saving grace as well. Also, being an athlete. So, a lot of times we have those moments where the music will actually speak to us. Music will actually be our healing agent. It will be our way to express ourselves, what's going on in our heart, what's going on our mind, what we see that's going on in the street, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And then our families being rooted into music. So while you're going in school, were you drawn into like the music department, or was it just regular books?
Ironically, in my early years, let's say elementary school, at about let's see, in the third grade, I played the violin. The violin was the first time I tried. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, was young, and I really wanted to play an instrument. I thought the violin was like the coolest thing in the world. And so it was a class that they offered in elementary school. So I ended up starting off with the violin. I stopped for about a year in the fourth grade, and then in the fifth grade, I joined the orchestra, and I played. I started off on the trombone. It just wasn't my thing. It just wasn't my thing. And then I ended up playing percussion. So I played the timpani, I played the snare, I played the bass. I played oh my goodness, what are they called? Like oof, it's like the little tropical drums. I don't know, for some odd reason I can't remember what they call it right now, but I played those. I played the xylophone, even played the triangle, the little cowbell, and it just made me start to realize how important, every instrument was. So it started there. And then from just playing the percussion, I ended up being a part of the drum line. The drum line was big for me. I did that for about 2 years, and then I kind of took a break from music, and I just got off into dancing. So it kind of switched for a minute, and then later on down the line, when I discovered how you could just use the computer and get with the Sims and everything back in high school, is when I really got back into music. I was a dance major, so I had to do ballet at the time. I was breaking and everything, but I went to the Detroit School of Arts. That's where I graduated from. But in order to be a dance major, I came in, I did an audition, and I shut it down. And the lady she says, "Oh my God, all that spinning and everything that you were doing, it was amazing." But she said, I'll let you attend school here on one condition." I said, "What's that?" She said, "You got to do ballet too." I was like, ah. But it turned out to have some very solid and strong points. It showed me a different way to, interpret music, and just a different way to move the body and use the ear when it comes to, how music is laid down. So while I was doing that in school as a dance major, my uncle bought me a microphone. I started producing beats. I wasn't really that good at the time, but I was putting my heart and soul into it, and I was, laying down rhymes, and I would burn like a whole little group of the compact discs or the CDs, and I would sell them for $1 or $2, and I was coming home with all this money, and I would take the CD and put the marker on it, and my mom was like, "What are you doing?" She said, "Are you selling drugs?" I said, "No." I said, "That music that you said I couldn't make any money from." I said, "I've been going out selling these CDs. Quality was horrible, but people loved it because it was just so raw. It was so uncut and raw, and you could just kind of listen to it." And at that time, they saw what I see now. Me being able to be polished. They saw what it would look like with fine tuning, and so those were kind of the different stages of how it played out for me throughout the years.
So, would you be able to say that music and dancing kept you out of trouble?
Absolutely, absolutely. I seen a lot of things. I watched a lot of friends get arrested, get incarcerated. I had a lot of friends. May they rest in peace. But I've had a lot of friends, who are no longer here. And while they would be out skipping school, running around in the streets, I would probably maybe I'm in a if I skip school, maybe I'm in the dance studio. Maybe I'm at a dance practice somewhere, or maybe I'm just making music, but I wasn't out there, getting caught up in the street. So it was definitely a tool that gave me something to engage in, that kept me from, the negative parts of the outside world. A lot of people in our community, they do fall victim to that, and it's sad.
So, would you also say that having support in something that you hold dear to your heart was also a saving grace as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. It did not start with the support, because for me, I was a person. I would try something, get good at it, and put it down. Try something else. I would get good at it, put it down. And so by the time I got around to dancing and music, they're like, "All right, well, you're good at it, but is this something that you're gonna put down too?" And so when I showed people, "No, I really want to do this," they're like, "Okay," and people started to pay attention. So then I started to get support. Out of high school, I met one of my uncles. I didn't know he was my uncle, but his name is Kid the Producer. So he's one of Detroit's three legendary producers. So he's why I got good at producing the music. I worked under his wing. He had a label at the time called Red Diamond. I believe it's still around, but he produced "In My Hood" for KDZ, and some stuff for Tone and Blade Icewood and stuff like that. And I got to work under this guy. And at the time, I was in my last year of high school when I started to come around him. But it was another thing that, when they were like, "Oh, you serious?" And people started putting money behind me to, get good production. I worked with my first celebrity, Payroll Giovanni, at the age of 18 years old. So it was real nice. It was real nice, and that following and that backing and people saying, hey, I support you. It just really gave me more fuel to say, um, I don't want to do this like everybody else. A lot of people go out and maybe they'll get their drug money, or, and I'm not knocking them for it, or maybe they'll do some type of hustle and come up with the money to do it themselves. I said to myself, no, I want to do this the clean way. I want to stay out of trouble. I want to just really be a role model for people up under me, because they don't know that there is an avenue and a way for you to do it that way. So the support absolutely kept me out of trouble.
I definitely wanted to bring that aspect out. There's so many things that we hear in the music business and industry of either your break-in way or as we say, the stay in um, conversations that is either hush hush or we read about it in the tabloids. Um,
Hmm.
and with the rich history of Detroit alone, of the many avenues of music, it's very important that we do have support. I'm very advocate on the village. I was raised in the village. I still lean heavily on the village. I can't do anything by myself, and so support is very big. Um, so when did you know that, or what genre of music really spoke to you? I know you said dance and of course hip hop. What about R&B? What about gospel? What about all these other different genres of music? Did they speak to you too?
As a listener, yeah. As a listener, yeah. Um, I don't produce gospel. I occasionally produce some R&B. I love R&B. I may um, occasionally produce like what I call cross genre music. Maybe it's some hip hop rock, like it's rock music, but it's got a more of a hip hop foundation or a feel to it. Maybe it's hip hop and R&B mix. And then now they've got your underground hip hop. You've got your swing music. You've got the new school, like the trap. So I find myself, dabbling in that a bit. I would say prior to, I wasn't a fan of it. And I was just really, really resisting it because it felt like such a low frequency thing to me. But I realized, with those cross genres, it's kind of whatever you put to it is what you can create what you want to create out of it. Just because it's this type of beat doesn't mean it has to be this type of song. Gospel definitely spoke to me. Growing up, I would go and watch some shows, and a lot of the dance shows I would go to see, at the time. And I don't think he's did anything bad, but I was a Kirk Franklin fan. I liked a lot of the stuff that Kirk Franklin did. It was very nice. It was very nice. That was one of the gospel guys that really stood out to me.
Well, one of the things that learning that most people will gravitate or automatically start popping or whatever with something that we have heard before. So Kurt basically took a lot of samples and just put the lyrics on top of it. So we already grooving to that type of song because we remember that. And now all I'm doing is listening to the words. So now it's a good combination together. So kudos to Kirk
Hmm.
to bring in the gospel into the clubs, reaching people that probably wouldn't have never even thought about it. Um, so again, you have to find a way to, as we say, evangelize what's hip, what's now. A lot of people probably be mad. A lot of people be like, no, go back to traditional ways. But again, he did that too. So again, whatever way it can be to get the message across, so be it. For me, I love gospel, um, and I love R&B. And so most people, when I sing, they like, oh, you sound like Erica Badu, or even when I sing gospel, it still comes out R&B. It's just, that's what my soul is. Um, but I'm glad that um, you were successful and still successful in Detroit. still being true to who you are, and getting your message out. So let's talk about your group.
Hmm.
You stated that you guys are a brotherhood, you guys are friends. You have been friends for over 20 years. What was the conversation like of sitting down and say, hey, this is what we want to do? How did we come up with the name? What do we stand for?
Hmm.
What was that conversation like?
Oh, it was different because I was still overseas in Taiwan. So I had, started from the, let's see, 2017, and I'll make it short. 2017, I left America. It was all this Trump stuff going on, and things were going left and they were going right. And I think by this time, I had left the movie theaters. I was a stand-in general manager there, and essentially, what happened was went overseas, and my sister's there. She's like, "Yeah, you should come out here." I was just fed up with America at the time. I was fed up. I had enough. And out there, we put together a set of shows. We just wanted to test it out. She was kind of working with a group at the time, and then we started to put together these nice little tours over in Taiwan, and we would sell out every show that we were doing. And so around the time of the pandemic, I started to realize the way things were going with the economy and everything. I'm like, yeah, I might have to, make my way home soon. One of my buddies called, and me and my partners, we went to elementary school together. We've known each other for years. And so um, I had just made a song, and I was like, man, I'm kind of tired of doing this alone. My sister had left, so I was in Taiwan by myself. Had been there for about a year, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to, come home, and I'm gonna have to start something new. But I'm like, every time you do these solo adventures, it's just too much footwork for one man versus me having a team, and we could work things out together. So me and my one buddy, Conscious MC, Conscious hits me up, and Conscious is like, yo, I'm working on the song, blah blah blah. Can you do something for me and clean up the mix and everything? So I take care of that, and then I hit him back. I said, man, I like the song. I remember you were trying this a few years back, and you were, kind of afraid to deliver or still discovering who you were as an MC. I'm like, dude, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I got this track. You should jump on this track. And he's like, okay. So I sent it out to him. He gets it done, and I'm like, I think there's still space for one more. I said, call Chemist, who is Nick. I said, call Nick, man, and see if Nick will want to hop on this. I said, I know he kind of plays around with rapping, but this dude is actually good. Like, it wasn't anything that he thought that he was actually good at. And so we sent it to him. He writes, he sends it back, and I listened to it, and I was like, wow. I was like, dude, this song is hot. I said, I think we should, start a group. And so they were like, okay, well, what would we call it? At the time, I just happened to see something from Malcolm X on the TV, and that thing came on where Malcolm said, he said, we will such and such by any means necessary. And I was like, I like that. What if we could turn that into an acronym? And I was like, how about we go by BAM? And they was like, what you mean? I was like, BAM, BAMN, by any means necessary. And they're like, I like that. I like that. And so I ended up coming up with two more tracks, and I sent it off to him just to see what happened. And the chemistry that we had together was incredible, because prior to every song that I had, it was always me, 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 me. And it gets tiring doing all that writing, all that producing. And I can have somebody else to, bring a different kind of energy versus just hearing my energy all the time. And the way that we clicked, we just instantly knew. We were like, yeah, we're gonna do this. They happened to be in Texas at the time when we recorded the second song, and I was still in Taiwan. And the engineer sat down, and he's like, man, I like what y'all got. Yo, this is fire. He said, man, who made this beat? It was like, oh, our boy Caddy made the beat. He was like, man, your boy is cold. And they jumped on the track. My man's did his thing. And we came out with a song. It's called Opposition. You can find that on YouTube. You type in BAMN Opposition. It's been out for a little over maybe 2 months now, maybe a month. I believe it's 2 months, but we got 46,000 views on that. That's the first video we've ever made together, and it just came to show me. We had people like Obi Trice comment on the video, yo, what y'all doing is dope. You guys are original. But I just realized with these guys, we could stay true to hip hop. We didn't have to do what somebody else wanted us to do. So that was something that I dealt with prior. They're like, oh, you need to make this, you need to make that, you need to do this, and it'll take off. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I got into the hit phase, and during the hit phase, people would listen, like they would buy, but people would say, "Man, I feel like you're not being true to who you are doing your music." And every time they listened to everything me and these guys got together, they say that each and every one of you guys are staying true to your craft. So it just really merged. We came together like Voltron. I never experienced anything like it. It was just meant to be.
Well, that's the good thing. Now, we know one of the things that I feel like God always puts us out information that we have to pay attention to. We have to learn the lessons from others in order for us to stay where we supposed to stay or where we supposed to go. So there's different type of, podcasts. There's shows like Unsung. There's all these different things that come out and say one thing about it. You always stay true to your friendship, your main brother, and don't let anyone get between your relationship, because the goal has always been to separate, divide and conquer.
Hmm.
So don't let that happen. Two, when it's male groups, we always have the chick. No. So then there's the contracts. These are the three main things that happen with male groups or male artists that go downhill because we lose focus. Well, one thing that you said in this bio is that you guys stay focused and you guys come together. And that was one of the things that I put on here is the brotherhood and the togetherness is very important, especially in an industry that would love to eat you and tear you apart. Conscious rap, a message of love, is not what sells the most. So that means you have to work harder to be seen. But we know in due season, if you faint not, you're going to get what you're supposed to get. And because you already had years of experience, that helps. So, and I did see that Nick was on here. So again, eventually, soon, we'll be able to get all you guys on at one time to be able to talk about your experience of coming together with a common cause. Again, kudos, especially with Black men. I love it because you guys are not all out doing something crazy that the world says that you're out here robbing, you're out here killing, you're not taking care of your own, all of this crazy stuff. And I'm like, no, I know plenty of Black men who are doing excellent. And so that's very important to me. Mother Louise is on. Bless you. Let's get into the other part of
Hey
you.
there, hey there.
The other part is
Okay.
that the insurance agent. Now, how did you get into that?
Ooh, so I came back to America. Um, I experienced different things in the Taiwan community. Just standing in as a teacher and just getting to be around a community and just do nice things for them. How they were so together. Got to see their lantern festivals and the mooncake festivals, and just seeing how friendly the neighbors were to one another out there. You go out there and everybody's smiling, everybody speaks, everyone says hi. People will stop you and maybe ask to take a picture. So there could be different elements involved with that. However, there was a lot of positive from that, and just seeing how as an adult I could interact with someone's child and say, "Hey, how you doing, young man?" I could give the kid a high five. They weren't just oh, get away from mine. Over here, everyone is, so at arms with each other. And I said, okay, well, when I come back to America, it's going to be a different environment. It's going to be a very different environment. What can I do to be a part of my community that'll allow me to, gift them with a tool that will, put them one step ahead of where we usually are. And so I tried some odd jobs when I came back. I worked for a factory. I almost went back to Chrysler. I spent some time at Walmart, and I was just like, this is not it. This is not it. I said, this is not, doing anything good for me. I'm coming into these places and I'm angry. I was like, I'm not angry. I've been happy. And one day a buddy hit me up. He said, man, he had just came back from doing a tour in Africa. This is Big Herc's son, Young Herc. And he said, man, I've been thinking about getting in life insurance. I want you to sit down with me over the Zoom presentation, and I want you to listen to it and hear and I want to hear what you think. So I listened to it and what the that specific company had to say, and I wasn't really feeling it, but I did like the idea of life insurance. And so then the woman I'm dating at now and at the time, she comes back one day, April, and April goes, hey, somebody told me about an opportunity. I think you should sit down and listen to this. You might like this. And so I sat down and the guy explained life insurance, how it worked, what it's good for, what you can do with it. And I just sat there, and in that moment, I was like, I love this. I was like, how do I sign up? And so I went up there, and they took care of the study materials and paid for the class. They paid for the test, and I passed it. There's doctors and mathematicians and people who cannot pass a life insurance test to get their license. But as I was going along, I saw videos from artists like Waka Flocka and T Grizzly and all these different people talking about what life insurance can do for you. A lot of people think that the Caucasian community, everybody is rich. They're not. They just have a lot of life insurance. Every time a Caucasian grandparent dies, a grandkid might get a check for $60,000. Every time one of us dies, our family get a bill. We're doing GoFundMe. We're selling T-shirts. We're trying to bury our loved one as opposed to having our assets in order. And when we pass, we may not be able to give off that same 60,000. But if I got 5 grandkids and I can give them $10,000 and they don't have to pay for my final expense, they're already one step ahead of the game. And that was one thing that I got to see. The things as far as cash value, policies accumulating cash value, and you're putting money into your policy, and maybe one day something happens, and I need some rainy day money. I go reach into my policy. Hey, I need a check for this much so I can go pay for this. Maybe I don't need the money. I'm set, but I want to go buy a boat or something. By this time, I've got $30,000 or $40,000 that built up, and I could take this money and go buy a boat. I pay the interest on my policy. My policy stays active if I don't want to pay back what I took out. And if something happens to me, the remaining amount on that death benefit, my family still receives that. There are a lot of people in our community that are not educated on that. I talk to people every day and they say, what do I need insurance for? That's a scam. Well, if you're a rapper, you definitely need some property and casualty insurance. You know why so many people dying over chains? Because they chain ain't insured. If you got insurance on your chain and somebody comes to rob you, here, take it. And then I go to the State Farm or wherever I got the policy for, and then they give me a check and I go get another one. But now you fighting for these these materialistic things, and something's happening to you and you don't have insurance as your backup. See, one of the things that was depraved from the black community was the knowledge of insurance. Insurance is what we need to put us on an equal playing field, especially what's going on right now in the world. So that was one of the things that made me love it. I just love to be able to interact with my community. I love that I can go somewhere, and I'll cut this right here so that you could say something as well. But I love to be able to go somewhere, and there's been times doing this, and a guy's like, "Who are you?" And I'm walking up to see a young lady, and they're like, "Whoa, it's 5, 6 dudes on the porch. Yo, who are you, cuz? What you doing here?" And I'm like, oh, it gets tense. And I say, oh, well, I'm the insurance man. Such and such gave me a call. I reached out to her. I want to come help her with her insurance. And then the whole temperature in the room changed. Oh, yeah, come on. Fancy's right this way, buddy. We'll take you in. Or maybe someone have some bad agenda and I'm maybe about to get mugged. And I just let them know, hey, I'm the insurance man. I'm out here trying to, protect the community and just spread the knowledge so that we're ahead like everybody else. And there's a seed somewhere in God too, because every time that happens, whatever was about to happen does not happen. And I love that. I love that.
I'm sure you do. Um, with insurance, a lot of people are not educated not only on the insurance, but even the living wills, all of that stuff. A lot of things that we don't talk about in the Black community, and death is one of them. It's like some type of taboo or something, but we need to have those conversations because of the fact that you don't want to leave this world with not having your business in order. Don't leave your family with all this debt. Don't leave without having where your family members are not fighting over your things. And my dad, before he passed away, he already told us he didn't want a funeral. He wanted to be cremated, and whatever after all of that, we could split up what was left. And I was like, thanks, Dad. You already knew what you wanted, what was your wishes, and everybody else had to, they wanted to do other things, but that's not what Dad wanted. So again, those conversations about insurance is very important. Even after the fact of counseling is important. That we have, I don't know where this taboo came from either, of us not going to see a counselor. You're not crazy. You need to talk. You need to get it out so you can figure out how to move on with life. Grieving is different for everyone. So you need to know how to grieve. Um, and that's important. Because we don't want you having a breakdown. We don't want you doing things and you have no idea that you're going through a grieving process. So, again, you don't know these things until it comes up. And I don't care how long somebody might have been sick, you're never prepared for death. Never. It will
Hmm.
always take you by surprise. And even when that moment comes, you're still never ready. Never. So, it's good to see a familiar face, someone that doesn't look life threatening, to be able to talk about something that some people do take as a threat. Um,
Hmm.
I've been talking to my mom for a couple of months now to finish her living will, and she still haven't to this day, as if I was saying you about to die tomorrow. No, that's not what that's for. So again, this moment of going into our neighborhoods, into our communities to tell the truth is necessary. Your moments of connecting to the community with positive music is necessary. That's why you can't go nowhere. And on top of that, why the enemy is messing with you so bad? Because you're so close to where you need to be. You heard me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why all of a sudden this breakdown, this is happening, this, and that to get you distracted. But your main focus, you said on here, is with your brothers. You are focused on the end game, the goal, which is what? I want to give back to my community. I want to leave legacy of I came from legacy. Why wouldn't I leave legacy? Don't have me start preaching in here. Don't do it.
Amen.
So again, this is necessary. The village will take care of you, and so will God. It was not you might have thought it was strange, but God had already orchestrated for us to meet. And it came through my mom. So that goes to show you that it's something on you. That regardless if nobody else acknowledge it, it's something about you. And you're here because the world needs to know who you are. That's what I do. You promote yourself. You do good, the world will pay you back. God will, for sure. I don't care if you have moments where you be like, you know what? I don't know. Go back and watch this. Go back and and listen and see the comments that people are saying about you, about what you've already accomplished. That's your encouragement. So let me get into something else on here. Hold that thought for just a second. So, what high school did you graduate from?
Detroit School of Arts.
Okay, so in my day, because I know I'm older than you, so there was a thing called Fame. Do you ever heard of it?
You said fame?
The TV show Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So Fame, and also going into it was a movie called Breaking. There was Electric Boogaloo. There was all of these different shows that really put out what we're capable of doing. I don't care what hood you came from. I don't care if you came from Juilliard. I don't care. We all spoke the same language. So, of course, this is 80s, um, early 90s, where music, art, dancing all came together. And it's important for us to also protect that legacy. And when you already come from legacy, you know what it's like. You've seen it for yourself. Again, you have responsibility. I'm holding you accountable to let the next generation know that music saved my life. The arts saved my life. Matter of fact, tomorrow, my young cousin, Kenneth Jackson, was just in the newspaper for the murals that he has done in through the city. Art,
Wow.
art, again, influenced by music, influenced by our inheritance that we have, that the world keeps trying to take from us. Now, soldier, that you got a quote that you stand for from Malcolm X. Did you feel like that was just coincidence? You couldn't have.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Do you see the bigger picture now?
Absolutely.
You got something to say. You have the platform to do it. You have the platform in our earthly with telling us how to make sure we get our business right. And then we'll hear it again in your music. Ain't that something? You had to go to a whole nother country to come back and bring back something that America sometimes try to take from us. Well, you can't erase history, and they definitely can't erase you. So, what is it about a Cadillac car that you love so much?
You know what? It's crazy because the name chose me. Like my uncle Kid is K.I.D.D. And I just was like, oh, well, why is this old guy called Kid? And then I read his bio, but he ended up telling me the story first, and he has stood for keeping it Detroit daily. It's just something about this place that will, like, if you're just, just pulling in the positive energy from it, something from here will choose you. And my first car that I drove, and got to take the prime and everything, it was a Cadillac. At the time, they were trying out a new shoe in town. I fell in love with the shoe. Cadillac had made a set of shoes. They were the Cadillac shoes, and I used to wear them all the time. And so, for some odd reason, every time I was wearing some type of footwear or around some type of vehicle, the name would choose me. So, as a joke, when I was younger, I used to try to break, and the shoes were light, so I would wear some Crocs. And so, at that time, people used to call me Crocs. They would call me Crocs Dot Rock. So that's just like the Rock is kind of like a breaking thing. Like, okay, okay, we're gonna call you Crocs Rock, and I was like, okay, that's cool, but I'm like, all right, we're playing around. When we're gonna get serious, and then them Cadillac shoes came out, and I would be breaking, and I would be tearing it up, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna call you Cadillac. It's partly because you wear the shoes, and two, because you so long. When you move, you're like smooth with it, like the car. So the name just kind of chose me. When people are riding in a Cadillac, nobody's speeding. They're gonna take that Cadillac and they're gonna ride down the street two
Right.
miles per
Yes.
hour, so everybody see them.
Yes. Cruising. So in my time,
Hmm.
it would have been, a row of caddies on Belle Isle Strip until they started, changing everything. But however, it was nothing to see Cadillacs um, riding down Jefferson, um, all the cities of Detroit. Um, while I'm here, are you okay? You said you have a sister, right? Are you? Is it
Hmm.
just you two?
Uh, Me, her, and our brother Jalen. He's in the comments as well.
Okay.
So he's the youngest. My sister is the middle sibling, and I'm the oldest.
So how do you like being the oldest?
Um, you know what? I didn't like it at first. I didn't like it at first.
Me neither.
Because I felt there was so much responsibility with it. Um, Being in and like I said, in society growing up at the time overseas, I got to see everybody bonding with their siblings. Oh, big brother, big sister, big brother, little brother, and like that's literally how they talk. Oh, I love you, little brother. And then I came back here and everybody picking on their little siblings. I was mean to my siblings too coming up because I didn't really understand the concept. I'm like, what do you want to be around me for? Like, man, I'm trying to go do other stuff. And so for a while, it was just a confusing concept. Just like there's no hand guide to being a parent. There's no hand guide to being the oldest sibling. And so it took me to, really go overseas and interact with my siblings as they grew up to really realize like, oh yeah, I love this. Like I can protect these two. And because I did good to them, if something happens to me and I fall short, they got my back. They got my back. Like
Yes,
I love that.
it is true. I didn't like being the oldest. I always wanted a older sibling, but that didn't happen. I always said that the first child is always the guinea pig because, of course, your parents don't know. They go to the extreme on a lot of things. But in the meantime, growing up and us going off and doing our own things as adults, we're all married. Um, my siblings are doing well in life, and at any given time, if any of us need each other, we're there. No questions asked. Um, and so that's the good thing. Even when I have my moments, my younger sister, my brother is always encouraging and pushing me to be a better version of me. We all represent our home. So again, um, that's the good thing about that. Um, while we're also here, what is something about you that people would be surprised to know?
Um, I speak Mandarin Chinese. I'm fluent in Mandarin. My sister is fluent as well. Off face value, nobody would ever guess that. And then when we would interact with people. Even when I was out there, there was people I had been around for years, and I would listen to people talk, and I just like the element of surprise. So I would listen to people talk, and maybe they said something funny in Chinese, and I started laughing. They'll say, "Oh, do you understand me?" I say, "Yeah." But I wouldn't speak back in Chinese. And then maybe we go somewhere, we have a few margaritas or something, we having a good time, and then I'm just speaking in Chinese for the rest of the night. And they're like, dude, I had no idea that you could speak Mandarin. I say, yeah, sometimes you got to have the element of surprise. So that's one thing people would not know about me. They definitely would not know that about
Okay, so since you brought it up, you got to say something in Mandarin.
me. 你好，你们都可以叫我 Q。很高兴认识你们。大家好，大家好。你叫什么名字？And that means what's your name?
Wait, all you just said was what?
Nah. I said, my name is Q. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet everyone. Hello, everyone. And then I asked you, what's your name?
Oh, I was about to say you said all of that, and you only said what's your name.
Sorry, that was a last part translation, but um, I don't know. That's usually what we go with when somebody just asks us to speak Chinese, because it's like no preference or script, so it's a formal introduction.
I get it. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think. This is so exciting. I've never known anyone to actually speak that language, first of all. So that's a first for our listening audience. Again, I'm excited to have a conversation with someone who's going places, been places, is really going places. Outside of Taiwan, is there other places that you've been?
I've been to Hong Kong. It's pretty cool. I've been to Hong Kong. I've been to Macau. It's so different because they speak Cantonese and they speak Portuguese. So I was in Macau and I'm trying to speak Chinese because it's a part of China and nobody spoke Chinese. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So they would give me papers to get around town. And on one line, it would be in Portuguese. If I had a Portuguese person that was maybe the cab driver or something. And then in the other line, it'd be Cantonese. And I'm like, dude, the only thing I know in Cantonese is Leho or Goi Sai. So like Leho is like hello, Goi Sai is thank you. Like it's a very hard language. And I was like, that's all I had. And I'm trying to get around. So after that, I lived in the Philippines for a month. I stayed in Manila. Manila was awesome. It is so hot. Like I had to walk around with a bandana on my face because it was so hot. As soon as I stepped outside out of the hotel, I would start sweating bullets and it would just keep getting in my eyes. So I would tie a bandana around my forehead every day before before I went outside, and it's just so tropical. There's thousands of islands. They speak a language called Tagalog, along with maybe a few hundred other languages, but I could speak a little bit of the Tagalog language. And those were the four places I've been to. I wanted to go to Japan, but because of the pandemic, I was not allowed to go on the way back home. But that was going to be my last stop over in Asia. So definitely more places in store. They want us to do some shows over in London. So we'll possibly go to London this year, and then they want us to do a show in Africa in December. So about a week's long worth of shows in Africa. We'll be going to Ghana. So I look forward to that as well. That's where I always wanted to go. I always wanted to go to Africa and learn a African language as well.
Wow. Well, good for you. Blessings, main event. Are you familiar with main event? Please tell me you are. He was
So,
one of the main stars of the N1 back in the day.
oh wow! Oh snap! Oh, oh snap! Main event. I loved hot sauce. Everybody
Yes,
loved hot sauce. The
yes,
professor.
yes.
Um, um, oh man, what is his name? It was the guy with he had two different names, but it was like there was them main event hot sauce, the professor, and I cannot remember the other dude's name. They were my four favorites. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's my brother. He just chimed in, and he's yeah. When I tell you, it's small world, but great connections. When you meet with people that you have no clue, no idea. But again, he's saying congratulations, King. That's my brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Who knows? They're coming back out. Blacktop Streetball Association. You never know. You might be one of the people they use for their theme song, or who knows?
Oh my goodness, I was man. Oh my goodness, because I loved and one like basketball is cool. Basketball is cool. I won't take nothing away from those guys, but just and one like all the bouncing the ball, doing push-ups and spinning on the floor, all the crazy dunks, man. It was crazy. I would watch a basketball game, but when and one was coming on, I was right in front of that TV when the N1 mixtape came out. I had to
Yes,
have it. I, I had to have it.
you talking to one of the originals.
Wow,
Look at that.
wow.
Mm-hmm. So again, connections are important, and that one right there, that's my love right there. That's my heart. Um, Still haven't met him in person yet, but we've been connected for now probably over a year now, and it has
Mm.
been an awesome ride, and we still doing it. Um, Again, wow, that just blew my mind. However, Um, I just wanted to know, how did you get so bold and courageous in going into different countries? Because a lot of people, you'd be surprised they are even afraid to fly, let alone go out the country.
So the first time I took a flight, and shout out to Ruben Ford, I auditioned for this thing called Team Backpack. Fat Father, I don't know if you've heard of him, but Fat Father is another Detroit rapper, underground MC. Fat Father won Team Backpack. I was the second person from Detroit to win it, but I took my first plane trip. It flew us to Vegas, then it flew us to California. Years down the line, I'm like, man. And my sister, she graduated high school in Taiwan. And so when I was fed up with America, she's like, "Come over there." I'm like, "Man, I don't know." I'm like, "That's got to be a long flight." I'm like, "I'm black. How are they gonna treat me?" And she would send me videos all the time of her having fun. She's like, "Dude, just suck it up." It took a girl, my sister, to make me suck it up. She's like, "You don't have anything to lose. You have everything to gain." And so I was sitting down one day and my mother took my phone. She's like, "How much money is in your bank account?" And I'm like, "I think I got about maybe $600 or $700." She's like, "Let me see your phone for a second." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it. She goes to my phone, and you would never find anything like this. We found a one way. She found a one-way ticket to Taiwan for $500. Tickets cost almost two, maybe three times that. Like that was God right there. For $500, she took my phone and boop boop. She was like, "All right, you're going." I'm like, "What?" I said, "What?" And so she bought the ticket. I had my passport, and I took that flight. I was terrified. And then I got there, and as soon as I got off that plane, because it was cold when I left here, it was December. I got there, and it was hot. And I got out the airport, and as soon as I get out the airport, there's like palm trees and everything outside, and I just started smiling, and I was like, "Yo, this is the greatest thing that I have ever done." And the people were nice. Nobody was giving me funny looks or anything, and I was like, "We have got it all wrong back home. We're scared to go places, but if we travel more, people here would be so much nicer." We had this thing in our mind. I don't want to go there because it's a third world country. I don't want to go there because it's a third world country. But the way people treating each other in these other countries, I'm starting to feel like we're the third world country because we think that we're the only thing that exists. And there's technology that's way better in these other places. They got cars that's way better. The social groups of people a lot of times are way better. Um, Perfect example is, growing up, we would all see Africa on TV, and you see the kid with the fly on his eye, and they got the little song, "Oh, donate to
Yeah,
such and
like
such," and you can.
they dying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Dubai, I hadn't heard of Ghana, I hadn't heard of how South Africa was, and when I met all these people overseas, and they're like, "Dude, Africa is beautiful," and I'm like, "What?" Like, yeah, man, there's a lot of people over there that are rich. The land is great. There are some villages like some of the stuff you see on TV, but Africa is not like that. And so I started to realize it's just a facade. They put up a mask to make us think that this is just it.
Or
Everything
it's
else,
maybe here. Yeah.
yeah. People would call me and they're like, "Dude, so how do you get around? Do they pick you up on a rickshaw or a horse?" I'm like, "No, bro, they got cars." I'm like, "Somebody just drove past me in a Lamborghini." I'm like, "This place is incredible." So it's just, you just have to suck up the fear. Pick a place you want to go on the map.
And just go.
No, and just go. Yeah, and just go.
Some of the people that I have been introduced to through my brother main event have amazing stories. My first black pilot is his cousin. Um, and it's like Who else? Who else? Who everybody's doing so well, like in places you would never imagine. And so we have to just do it. In the next year, I've already spoken. I'm going to Italy. Um, and I want to travel before they say we can't. I
Hmm.
want to, I want to get out of the routine of just clocking in and clocking out. I want to do this love of learning more about human beings and encouraging them, inspiring them, and pushing them into their destiny. This is what I want to do for my living. I want to connect people to their destiny. I want to be able to connect you to main event. I want you to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I
Absolutely.
want to do. I would love to get paid to do this because this is fun to me to learn about another person. I'm not intimidated by anybody on this earth. I'm confident in me. I love this. So, for those who are watching who've never watched my show before, if you have a story you want to tell, if you have a book, a movie, all of these different things that we can promote ourselves, please inbox me. Somebody you know who's doing well. It doesn't have to be adults. I have conversations with kids as well. I started off young. So I would love to talk to younger people, encourage them, inspire them to be better than the next generation, the one before us. You know what? All the stuff that I do, I have my hands in a lot of stuff. I sing, I dance, I write, I do it all. I'm acting. I'm in a stage play that's coming up next month. I'm not limited to one thing. God made me multifaceted, just like you. So we have purpose, and we have to do the purpose.
Amen.
So I'm encouraged. I don't know about anybody in Taiwan, but I want to go now.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much
So
fun.
before we get off, because a whole hour goes so fast when you're having fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a few announcements I have, and then I have let you have the last word, and then we'll get off. Well, this past October, I was able to um, write and produce my first single book. It was called The Blueprint God's Design. God told me to sit down and reset. You're doing too much and you out of order. So he says, sit down, start over, read the blueprint, get back to how I designed, what I designed, and get to it. So I wrote about that. That is the Amazon link to that. You can put my name in, Camila Foster, and it'll also come up. Um, if you want to keep the lights on and help me keep the lights on, literally, as DTE just and we have a storm coming tomorrow. Um, the Cash App is $Sunshine Camila. That is how you really spell my name. Kamilah. If you want to donate to the show. Um, Alita Cotton, who is one of my chorus members, she does an awesome ginger and turmeric drink. I just learned the other day that if you have a high intake of sugar or a high intake in salt and you're having joint issues or inflamed, increase your intake of ginger and turmeric. You can do them separately or you can do them together, but it is a natural inflammatory and it helps. So when I was all my back is hurting, my knees is hurting, and when I did that, the pain subsided. So again, she is on Facebook at AYECEE, and she's a great singer. Okay, great, I must say. And the last thing, On April 6th through the 8th at the Fisher Theater, I will be on stage at the play for Perilous Times. If you are in Detroit, if you are far away and you want to take a flight to come see me on stage, please do so. You can take they're on sale now at broadwayindetroit.com. Again, the play is Perilous Times. It will be at the Fisher Theater April 6th through the 8th. And again, yours truly will be singing and dancing and acting in this play. So, Mr. Cadillac Q, Mr. Kalante Nas, Mr. Life Agent, Mr. Write My Life Story, Mr. Travel the World with no hesitation. What do you have for the people? What do you have for the people? I can't hear you.
There we go. How about now? Okay, it muted itself. I don't know why. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to you for having me on your show. It was amazing. I appreciate everybody. This was really awesome. I've done a few of these, and this was by far the best one I've ever done. This was amazing. This was amazing. Um, if you want to get in touch with us, you can go to our website. It's info@bamnt.com. So again, it's info@bamnt.com. You can find all our music and everything on there. We have a video that's already out now. It's BAMN Opposition. We have a new video dropping next Wednesday. It's called I Don't Bite S Word. I Don't Bite S Word. But it's just basically about a song about being original and how we create our own content. So that'll be dropping March 8th. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. Um, and I just look forward to being able to create more, interacting with more people. You have any questions, any inquiries, man, feel free to reach out. We loving, kind people, man. We not stuck up or nothing crazy like that. We love to, share what we do with others. So definitely just contact us. And again, I just want to say thank you. This was really awesome. Miss Grissom, Mama Louise, as she calls you, I appreciate you for doing this for me. It was such a blessing. I did not see this happening. Um, Short story on that, I was telling her about a course I took called the Landmark Forum, which was a form of therapy for me. Like my sister said in the comments, our album release party is March 25th. You can find more information about that on our website. Again, info@bament.com. And saw the gentleman, Larock. That was his name. Larock. Dope, bro. I saw that Jeezy plaque. Yo, that was fire. That was fire. So
Yeah, I asked about that plaque off screen. Like, is that a snowman? He was like, oh yeah. So again, I had a conversation with him that same night, like, cause you need to tune in, cause I feel like this is somebody you need to hook up with. Now, mind you, my cousin was a part of Def Jam, a part of Elektra Records, and he has his own promotion company that he's still helping artists to this day. So again, God had this all set up. Do you see it?
absolutely, absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what's about to happen. You ready for this flight?
I am ready. I am ready.
As I always tell Mama, I said, you make sure you have your bags packed at the door. Because when the call come in, you don't have time to be scrambling and trying to buy stuff and all of this. No, have your bags packed because you about to be busy. Did you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
So what's that website? One more time.
Info
Info. I can't hear you. Uh-uh.
It's just doing what it want to do for these last few minutes. How about now?
Okay,
Okay, so the
BAM.
website is ent.com. So um, info at bament.com.
Is that it?
Yep, you could type it in that way, it'll come up, or you could type in info with the at sign, and then you could put bament.com. So
Okay.
either way you type it, it'll come up.
Okay. Can somebody in the comment do it the other way with the info? I'm trying to make sure that everybody can get in touch with you. And I'm definitely
Okay.
make sure that thank you. Is Deja your sister?
Yep. Wait a minute, I might have made a mistake. I swear I searched it that way. It might just be bament.com. If I made a mistake on that, my apologies. Let me see. But I've typed it any other way and it
That's
came up.
your info. Is
Okay,
your
yeah. So yeah, info is the email. My apologies. My apologies. So that she handles that stuff. So I'm trying to get
Hi,
better
Sister
at that, differentiating the
Deja.
two. So that's the email. My apologies.
Oh, and yeah, Jalen. Hi, all the siblings. So again, if you want to also get in touch with them, that's the email. This is the website, and his album release party is March 25th. I can't wait. And again, it's been an awesome and wonderful time. I thank God first and foremost for bringing you to my mom for insurance, and for her to actually have a conversation with you, and for her to believe in me to even have this conversation with you. God don't do nothing by mistake. And then tonight, while I'm talking to you, my brother jumps on, and you love and one. So isn't that amazing, huh?
Hmm.
That wasn't
Absolutely.
at all. Um, and who knows what happens after this? All I know is get ready for the flight. Make sure you packed. Make sure everything is everything. And as I always say, if God don't tell you, if God don't send you, then don't go. We don't have time for the foolishness. We got places to go, people to meet, and things to do. You're purposed. So be about the purpose. So again, tonight, it was awesome. I'm not surprised. Again, God always shows up every time. Again, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, and one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. It has been proven over and over again. Tonight, I will see y'all on Friday, tomorrow, with my cousin Kenneth Jackson. Please tune in. Again, it will be another 7 o'clock show here. If you go to the YouTube channel, please like, share, and subscribe. I got to get my numbers up. You know how that goes. But again, I will talk to y'all on tomorrow. Peace.